Eunice Kennedy was born on July 10th, 1921, in Brookline, Massachusetts, to parents Joe Patrick Kennedy Sr. and Rose Elizabeth Fitzgerald Kennedy. Eunice was the fifth of nine children in the Kennedy household. As a young child, Eunice was fiery and competitive, playing football with her older brothers and at times playing quarterback. Because of her slim and wiry frame, she was nicknamed Puny Uni by her siblings, a nickname that lasted throughout her childhood. Little Eunice was a natural leader, so much so that her father, Joseph, proclaimed if she had balls, she would be president. Eunice got along with her eight siblings, none more so than her older brother and 35th President of the United States, John Fitzgerald Kennedy. Her admiration for him bordered on idol worship. She took his word with careful consideration. It was he who suggested attending Stanford after being a student for one semester the year prior. The active student body, the curriculum, and the nice weather convinced Eunice that Stanford was the place for her. Her closest sister may have been Kathleen, or Kick. On the outside, the two were opposites, Kick having the reputation for being the family rebel, while Eunice tried to not make waves. They both, however, were religious, headstrong, caring, and had an interest in helping people. However, it was her eldest sister, Rosemary, that would forever inspire her life's work. Rosemary was born with an undetermined brain defect that left her developmentally behind. An experimental lobotomy failed, and she was rendered fully disabled. Her two youngest sisters, Pat and Jean, looked up to her. All three worked together to get Jack elected to the Senate in 1952 and later on to the White House in 1960. Eunice also excelled in academia. She was educated at the Convent of the Sacred Heart, Roehampton, where she was captain of her field hockey team, and Manhattansville College before graduating from Stanford with a degree in the social sciences. After graduating college, Eunice took a job working for the State Department, becoming the executive secretary for a project involving juvenile delinquency, and later as a social worker at the Federal Industrial Institution for Women. It was around this time that Eunice was to be reintroduced to Sergeant Shriver. They met briefly while Sargent worked for her father in Chicago. Sergeant Shriver was smitten by Eunice for her intelligence, energy, and natural charisma. After repeated love letters and proposals, Eunice finally agreed to marry Sergeant Shriver. The 7 year long courtship ended with their marriage on May 23rd, 1953. Their marriage produced five children: Robert Sargent Shriver III, who became an activist, attorney, journalist, and a member of Santa Monica City Council; Maria Owing Shriver, former First Lady of California and founder of the nonprofit organization the Women's Alzheimer's Movement; Timothy Perry Shriver, who became a film director, an educator, and chairman of the Special Olympics since 1996; Mark Kennedy Shriver, who became a member of the Maryland House of Delegates and president of Save the Children Action Network; and her last child, Anthony Paul Kennedy Shriver, who founded Best Buddies in 1989 while living in his dorm room in Georgetown. But what Eunice Kennedy Shriver would be perhaps best known for is the founding of the Special Olympics on July 20th, 1968, in Chicago. The Special Olympics celebrates achievement and effort by the mentally challenged. Eunice was awarded with many honors and degrees throughout her lifetime, most notably the Medal of Freedom in 1984, involving people with disabilities, and also becoming the first woman ever honored with a degree from Santa Clara University. Sadly, on August 11th, 2009, Eunice Kennedy Shriver, mother, wife, philanthropist, humanitarian, and trailblazer, died. She is survived by her five children and 19 grandchildren.